What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to this special topic video here on Anfield Agenda. I am currently away during the international break, so I've decided to record a series of videos that I hope will keep you guys entertained as we wait for the Reds to be back in action. Today, we're going to be talking about why I believe there is an argument for a second-tier World Cup. Yeah, you did hear me right, and look, maybe I've lost the plot, but I'm going to try to convince you why I think there is space in the football world for a second-tiered World Cup. As always, though, I want your feedback when you've watched the video, so do let me know in the comment section. Drop a like if you enjoy it, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, want to give a shout out to our last ever live show coming up on the 19th of October. If you'd like to come and see us for the very last time, and if you're wondering why, it's because of my stage fright, you can come and see us at the Hot Water Comedy Club, Liverpool. The day of the Manchester United game, that night will be at the venue. Tickets are priced at just £15. It's an all-ages event. And as I'm sitting here recording this now, there's about 40 or so tickets remaining. So I hope to see you there on the night, and all the money that we raise will be going towards Joe's GoFundMe for his wheelchair basketball chair. Right, so as you may know, I'm Irish, so the likelihood of my country, or many countries of a similar size or similar ability in the footballing world, of winning a World Cup or a European Championship are pretty much slim to none. So it got me thinking, is there scope or a way to change this? And I think there is. So before you start tippity-tapping and telling me I've lost the plot, which by the way, you could be right on, I'm going to try to tell you why I think this idea might work. Look at the Champions League. Look at how successful that is. And that has then led to, of course, we now have the Europa League, and before that we had the Cup Winners' Cup, and we had other competitions. But we've also seen the boffins at UEFA sit down and think, well, we need to give a taste of this European football experience to some of the lower tiered clubs, and clubs like clubs in the League of Ireland, who was an example this year. We have 2 clubs in the Europa Conference League. So I think something similar could be done on the world stage for international football. You're always going to have the same handful of countries competing for the World Cup. You'll have your Argentinas, your Brazils, your Englands. You'll have your Frances, your Germanys, Spain, the usual candidates. But you're never going to see a huge upset where you see a country like Ireland, Iceland, the Philippines, or a smaller nation with footballing stature-wise win a World Cup. Now, for me, I think there is space for this because Ireland rarely qualify for the big tournaments. We do sometimes, of course, but there are other countries who may never have been to a World Cup. I think that there should be a way to run a tournament that gives these countries the chance to taste success in silverware. So as I said, you've got your 3-tiered European competition where, yes, the big money and the big clubs are usually in the big one, but still have that support and that appetite to attend games for the Conference League and the Europa League. And say what you want, but whatever your views are of these tournaments, if your club gets to the latter stages of any of them, so I'm a Liverpool fan and I'm used to seeing us in the Champions League, but when we were at the semi-final, final stages of the Europa League, I'd be a liar if I told you I wasn't excited. And I'm sure Chelsea fans were probably the same when they were in the Conference League. They will rightly view themselves as a Champions League club, but they ended up in that competition, they went and won it, and that's a trophy. So I would like to see something similar done for the international game. You know, every time Ireland do play in the tournament, we hear so many positive things. Irish fans are brilliant and, the host nations always praise them. Well, I'd like not just that, but the ability for Ireland to go and compete on the world stage. Now, the best that I've seen in my lifetime is Ireland getting to the quarterfinals of Italia 90, and I can tell you that transformed their country. The national pride, the success and the buzz that sent around Ireland is still to this day like nothing I've ever experienced. I want that again. I want that, but I want to see my country have a chance at silverware. And yes, it is very, focused on one side of this, but same in anything. You don't just want the big teams, the big nations, the big sporting stars to compete because it isn't really a level playing field. Just looking from a population standpoint, and yes, there are countries like the Netherlands who probably punch above their weight with the numbers they have in their populations. Iceland has done very well as well. And some of that's down to grassroots coaching and money invested from the football associations. But I've never seen Ireland really compete for a trophy. The Nations League isn't really that either because when you're at the level that Ireland are at in it, you're promotion or relegation, you're not really winning things. So I'd like to see Ireland have the ability to go and not only challenge for a trophy, but maybe even play some countries that I've never seen Ireland play before. You know, countries like Panama, as an example, countries like Thailand, countries like New Zealand, or other countries who probably won't ever be challenging for the World Cup. You won't see Gianni Infantino standing there handing over the World Cup trophy to the captain of, I don't know, Malta, as an example, with all due respect to our friends in Malta. So that's why I think that there is scope and there is potentially an appetite for a second-tiered World Cup. Now, I know you may disagree with me on this one, but just think it through. Like I've said, we've seen it at club level, and we want to keep growing the game. Now, I guess the argument against it could be a similar thing, right? Where do you fit it in the calendar? And that's fair enough. You don't really want to go on at the same time as the World Cup because you want the eyes focused on the World Cup. I get that. But I'm sure they could find a way. If they can find a way to shoehorn in the FIFA Club World Cup into an already packed and congested calendar, if they can find a way to make a summer tournament in the World Cup a winter tournament to suit a host nation, I think that they could find a way, if they really wanted to attract people towards a second-tiered World Cup. Now, there's one thing we do know that FIFA love. It's a pound note, right? They love money. So imagine that extra revenue, extra sponsorship, and the goodwill that would come for countries like mine and other smaller countries who never get to compete for the huge prizes. Yes, in Ireland, I've seen some individual brilliance over the years. I've seen my Katie Taylors, my Brian O'Driscolls. I've seen people rise up to the top of their sports. But as a collective, the best I've had, like I keep coming back to, was Italia 90, Paki Bonner saving Timofte's penalty, David O'Leary scoring and sending us through to the quarterfinals, where Toto Scalacci in Italy broke our hearts. I want more of that. I want that national pride. And I dare say people in a similar position to me might want it as well. So I've had a love-hate relationship with international football. I've said this to you guys for years. Sometimes I don't bother watching because you kind of know you're not really going to challenge in it. But if you gave me something to latch onto, a hope, belief, which you have with your club every year going in, no matter what league you're in, League One club, you can dream about winning the league. Premier League team, you can dream about winning that and going into the Champions League. But what have you got really? Qualification for a World Cup that you know your team's probably going to struggle to get through to the knockout stages of, and certainly not really going to compete. I want that for my country. Do you want that for yours? Let me know in the comment section. Like I said, it's maybe one of the more out there ideas that I've had over the years, but it's something that I'm a firm believer in now that I've concocted it in this old noggin of mine. So over to you now. Let me know in the comments what you think. As always, I really do appreciate your time. And don't worry, we're getting closer to the Reds being back in action. Of course, it's a big game coming up. The one after the international break, Manchester United. I won't be here for the game, but Connor will be doing a watch-along of it. So I hope you'll come along and support him at the time. I'll be at the game. Love you guys to bits. Thank you so much for watching this. I'm looking forward to reading your comments. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.